everyone, welcome to my channel. So today I want to introduce you all to a new type of science or art. It's actually not exactly new, but something that has been mastered by the sages throughout the ages. Now this is called spiritual alchemy. From an expert on the topic, but I have been researching and I have taken small steps to get started on this particular journey. So this video is going to be a little deeper than our other videos, but I'm excited. And if you want to find out what all the excitement is all about, let's go. Old-time alchemists used to be really interested into this entire process of converting base metal into gold. In the spiritual sense, you do not have to worry. There is no such tricky business involved in spiritual alchemy. But so spiritual alchemy is actually the process of bringing about physical as well as spiritual abundance in life. Don't we all want that in life? So quickly about physical alchemy, which is medieval alchemy. It first originated in Egypt and then it slowly spread towards Europe. So since it became more widespread, it started being referred to as the process of converting fire's humidity into mercury. And that just essentially means conversion of lead into gold. So now we know about physical alchemy. So what exactly is spiritual alchemy? So spiritual alchemy is kind of actually very similar to physical alchemy. We are just converting the lead in a person, lead being, say, personality, into gold. In this case, spiritual gold. I'm sure you know about aura and chakras. If you don't, aura is actually the energy that radiates around our body. It goes beyond our corporal boundaries. That is aura. Now this aura plus all the nerve connections, it makes up the chakras. So chakras, auras, these are just two examples of the kind of anatomy that is discussed by the alchemists. Alright, so now let's talk about what really matters. How do we practice spiritual alchemy? Yes, I was curious about this as well when I first came to know about this practice. Now, whatever we're thinking, our speech, our actions, our feelings, our thoughts actually are shaping our future and our present as we speak. You know the concept, right? I mean, we have discussed that many times before in the law of attraction as well. So the universe is constantly listening to us. Whatever we're thinking, whatever we're talking about, whatever we're feeling, it's going to respond to you in equal measure. So if you're thinking that tomorrow I might not be able to wake up on time and catch that flight, someone is listening to you guys. Step one is calcination. So calcination is basically, scientifically speaking, is the process of heating something and breaking it down, decomposing it into raw matter. So in spiritual alchemy, calcination is basically breaking down all those things into pieces, into their component parts, whatever things are standing in the way of our happiness. What are these things that stand in the way of our happiness? It's basically things like ego, stubbornness, and maybe insecurity, sadness, lack of confidence, all those things. It could be grief, it could be fear, a number of things, right? So what calcination involves is breaking all of them down into their component parts so that we get to see what lies underneath. Because often we are so lost in, you know, the process of being always right, or we always focus on doing things perfectly, that we often miss out on the chance to explore ourselves. So self-exploration is really important, and that is exactly what calcination involves. Step two is dissolution. Now in step one, or calcination, we did involve the element of fire. Now in step two, we are going to involve another element, and that is water. So in this step, we are going to also engage water in order to dissolve away all those habits and beliefs that do not serve us anymore. The ones that we talked about earlier, ego and insecurity and all that. So in this step, there is often a lot of crying and feeling of being lost. That does happen here. here we realize that the hold that ego used to have on us, it has been temporarily released. Remember, temporarily. And so we are now exposed to what lies beneath that, our true emotions, our true feelings. So what might emerge is our true fears about maybe being ourselves, of being rejected, of being alone in the world, or something, of being called stupid, your fears. So the basic task in dissolution is to accept whatever emotions lie within us, and we weren't aware of it till now. Step 3 is separation. Now you might easily assume that, okay, finally, this is a step when we're going to cut off all those negative emotions, negative feelings from our mind. Well, not exactly. In this step, we are going to explore our emotions, our feelings, and try to understand them in the best way possible. For instance, if you're going to use our intellect, apply our intellect, and start judging our feelings and emotions as bad, worse, stupid, idiotic, what we're doing is we are disconnecting from our soul, and we are just going further and further away from development of our soul and personal development overall. It is separation that actually helps us to consider our experiences with an open mind and allow something like intuition rather than fear or ego to show our way ahead, to clear our way ahead. Psychologically, the step conjunction involves the true empowerment of ourselves. We all know that we have in our personalities masculine elements as well as feminine elements. So in conjunction, we are to bring together and unite the masculine and the feminine aspects of our personalities, and we get a totally new belief system that we need to nurture. It's a new level of consciousness. Put another way, we can also think that this is the union of the conscious and the unconscious of your psyche to create something which is known as the child of the union. The alchemists usually refer to the child of the union as the lesser stone. And once the lesser stone is achieved, it actually helps you to find your true path to enlightenment, the way to live a most superior life. Step 5, we are going to talk about fermentation. From this step, we see something that is so much more positive. We see everything about rebirth. When we think of fermentation, we think of wine. Yes, some delicious wine. So when you think of the process of fermentation, let's think of it as the death of a grape. But what does it lead to? It leads to the birth of wine. So in the first 4 stages of alchemy that we have seen so far, we were dealing with the old aspects of our old personality. But when it comes to fermentation, we are going to see the start of everything from a new light, from new perspective, new lenses. And it is the start of our new personality here. This process of fermentation, it occurs in 2 parts. First part is putrefaction. Number 2, step 2, is spiritization. So putrefaction, as the word suggests, it involves the decomposition of the bad aspects, or maybe the aspects of the conscious and unconscious parts of your psyche that weren't serving any good purpose for you in life. You are allowing them to rot and decompose. Some people say that this is the dark phase of spiritual alchemy because many people go into depression in this phase, and it's quite natural that it happens. But right after this comes part 2, which is so much more positive. So spiritization is that part of fermentation where we start looking at everything around us in this light through new lenses, through new light. If you have the right kind of guides and perfect guidance as well as inner control, with spiritization you will be able to let go of all those belief systems that you had within you that were not serving you in any way to mature spiritually. And this is a phase where we experience moments of inner peace as well as stillness, something that we were looking for right from the beginning, right? here we have reached step 6, and this is distillation. Now it is in step 6 that we have written about self-serving, and we have moved on to things that are serving the greater good. It is in this transformational stage that we have grown mature enough to merge successfully, spiritually as well as emotionally, with the collective conscious and unconscious without feeling overwhelmed. The ego here is no longer in control. So distillation actually creates such spiritual experiences that embrace the light as well as the dark. Dark as in not evil, but things that are unexplored, the mysterious, all those things that we are usually fearful about. A distilled person has a more mature perception of things. They live a life which does not have egoistic expectations, and they are satisfied and so happy with their lives, and they do not think that if all the things don't go as per their expectations, it's some kind of a failure or disappointment. No, because they're not connected to the ego in any way. They work with the soul. Alright, so we're on step 7. This is coagulation. So an alchemically transformed person is someone who has experienced all 7 stages of alchemy. It's not necessary that it is in order or that person has done it just once every step. No, sometimes you have to go back and do it again and again, again and again, until you reach the 7th step. But this is not necessarily the end of the process. It's actually the beginning, another beginning actually. This is definitely not any kind of place where we can rest and say, done, I've achieved it. No, this is only a place where you can further apply whatever you've learned and deepen your wisdom. Yes, it might be a step when you feel more discomfort with all the unconsciousness, varying levels of unconsciousness, but at least know that you will be operating at a higher level of wisdom because you have finally realized how your beliefs, how your thoughts affect entire universes. So that's it, you guys. That is what spiritual alchemy is all about. I am usually fascinated by all these different thought processes which are passed down from our ancestors through generations, and it still survived. People still talk about it, which means it's really successful in one way or another. And when I came across this, I wanted to pass on the knowledge to anyone who's watching the video. So whatever limited knowledge I had about it, I have passed it on. I hope it comes to your service in one way or another. So then, alright you guys, I love you so much, and I will see you next week in a new vlog where I will be taking off to a new place. I'm not going to reveal where, it's going to be a surprise. So yes, I'll see you next week. Bye.